Hi everyone. In the last few videos, we've talked about the factor theorem, remainder theorem, and then a couple applications for synthetic division and polynomial long division. And today we're going to look at another one. Okay, so this is where we are given a zero to a polynomial, and we want to write it as a product of linear factors now. Okay, so we're given a zero, and we want to see if we can fully factor some given polynomial given not zero. Okay, so here, let's take a look at this first example. We have g of x is equal to x to the third minus 3x squared minus 11x plus 21. And we're also given that negative 3 is a zero of this polynomial. And now our goal is to see if we can write g of x as a product of linear factors, okay? So if we're given that negative 3 is a zero of this polynomial, that means that x plus 3, that is a, x plus 3 is a factor of g of x. Okay, so what we can do now is we can use our previous knowledge to see if we can find the quotient of this if we divide this polynomial using synthetic division by negative 3. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So we can set it up like so. We take the coefficients. Here we're going to have 1, negative 3, negative 11, and 21. All right. We're going to go ahead and bring down the 1. So we'll have negative 3 times 1, which will give us negative 3. Negative 3 plus negative 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 3 is positive 18. Negative 11 plus 18 will be 7. And 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. Out of the 21 gives us 0. So good, that checks out that negative 3 is a 0 of our polynomial. And that also gives us the coefficients for a new polynomial. Okay, so our quotient is going to be the other part of this. So now we can write g of x as x plus 3 times x squared minus 6x plus 7. Okay? Of x squared minus 6x plus 7. We want to see now if we can factor this even further. Well, our goal now should be to see if we can write this quadratic equation as a or this polynomial as a product of binomials. So we're going to see if we can factor this one. All right, so to do that, we want to find the zeros. And a surefire way to do that is to use the quadratic formula, but usually it's a good idea to check and see if we can factor it easily first. So we're going to find two numbers that multiply together to give us 7 and add up to give us 6. And I don't think there's going to be anything there. Negative 7, negative 1, that'll be negative. Yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and use the quadratic formula. So we'll have x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and this will all be over 2a. Okay, so and again, we're doing this for this polynomial here. All right. So b is negative 6, so we'll have that'll give us positive 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 36 minus 4 times a times c is 7, and this will all be over 2 times a, or just 2. Okay? Or we can have this written as 6 plus or minus the square root of, looks be like it should be 36 minus 28. So we'll have the square root of 8 all over 2. Okay? But that is equal to 6 plus or minus, we'll have the square root of 4 times the square root of 2 all over 2, or 6 plus or minus 2 root 2 all over 2. Okay, and we can pull a 2 out here. So we'll have 2 times 3 plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2. These will cancel, and we get 3 plus or minus the square root of 2. So that means that, so I guess now we can go ahead and move all of these down. So that means that our zeros for this, what's left here, our zeros are going to be 3 plus the square root of 2 and 3 minus the square root of 2. Right? Or not or, that means that our polynomial can then now be written as g of x is equal to, the first one we said was x plus 3 times x minus 3 plus the square root of 2 times x minus 3 minus the square root of 2. Okay, and if you wanted to check this, you could FOIL this all back out, and that's fine. You could do that, or you can plug each of these back in and make sure that they're zeros. There's a couple ways you can check your work, but yeah, that's probably something you do once to make sure you're in the process right. But yeah, so this is basically how you would do that. Let's take a look at another one. Here we have f of x is equal to x to the third plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 4. And we know that 2 is a 0. 2 is a 0 for this polynomial. We want to write f of x as a product of linear factors given that. Okay, so let's use synthetic division here. So if 2 is a 0, that means x minus 2 is a factor. And if we divide f of x by x minus 2, we can use synthetic division. Let's put in our coefficients here. We have 1, 2, -6, and -4. So let's go ahead and bring down this 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. So -6 plus 8 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4 again. So -4 plus 4 is 0. So great. That means x minus 2 is a factor because there's no remainder here. Okay, so given that information, we can now write f of x as x minus 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 2. And let's see. We want to find two numbers that multiply together to give us 2 and add to give us 4. And we're not going to find that. So that means we're going to have to use our quadratic formula again. All right. So we have x is going to be equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, which will give us, it's like -4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 4 times 1 times 2 all over 2. So we'll have -4 plus or minus the square root of, looks like 16 minus 8 over 2, or -4 plus or minus the square root of 8 over 2. And we just did this a second ago. Yeah, square root of 8. So we have 2 root 2 is how that'll simplify to. So we have -4 plus or minus 2 root 2 all over 2. And again, we got that from our last problem. We just did the square root of 8 in our previous example. So we can pull a 2 out, and we'll get -2 plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2. These will cancel, giving us -2 plus or minus the square root of 2. So that means that our other factors are going to be x minus -2 plus the square root of 2 and x minus -2 minus the square root of 2. Okay. So there we go. That means that we can write f of x as x minus 2 times x minus negative 2 plus the square root of 2 times x minus negative 2 minus the square root of 2. So there we go. So there's a little introduction to how you can do this. If you have any questions at all on this, let me know. I know sometimes these can get really tricky. But again, it's just simplifying these and making sure you do all the little steps properly. That's the hardest part here. So good luck with this. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.